that the vision of the future, if it's limited, if you base the future on problems. Now, all of psychiatry, all of the human potential movement itself, Gestalt therapy, TA, all of those things, there were massive numbers of them. When I moved into the psychiatrist's house, it was filled with books. I'm a very avid reader, and I read all of them, and I was flabbergasted. Over 100 books, not one of them said a single thing you could do about anything. Not one, except take drugs. Right, and remember, it's the 1960s. I knew all about drugs. I went to college, right, and they didn't help. I'm sorry. I was a musician, and I can tell you straight ahead, drugs do not make people smarter. Okay, I played in bands with people that consumed enormous amounts of drugs, and they never got smarter. In fact, they got stupider and stupider and stupider. And fortunately, there are certain things that happen. Bass player in my band who took any drug he could find in any place. He went into my medicine cabinet one day in the 60s and took a couple pills and walked over to me and said, "Will these make me high?" And I said, "Those are my girlfriend's birth control pills." I said, "You won't get pregnant, but you might get cranky once a month. That's about the best they're going to do for you." Now, when I read all of these books, I said to the psychiatrist, he came to visit me, and I said, "Is there a psychotherapist that can actually do anything and get it done?" And he told me that he knew a woman named Virginia Satir. And Virginia just happened to be coming to visit her. So I started asking her questions. I was an information science major, and I knew about information. I knew about mathematics. I knew about equations. I knew symbolic logic. I knew how to program a computer, and in those days, it was very complicated. The languages, in fact, I worked on one of the languages because that's back when a floppy disk was this big. It was called an RK-05. You needed a pickup truck to bring a program over to somebody else's house. The world has changed tremendously over the decades.